Hi, I'm PJ Gatch, Senior Editor, Style and Beauty at IndieConfidential.com. I'm with designer, biker, dog owner Lela Rose. This is Mr. Stitchy. Say hi, Mr. Stitchy. Hello.
Stitch, come on, say hello.
And we're talking about her fabulous fall line, which will be shown this weekend during Mercedes-Benz New York Fashion Week. How old is Mr. Stitchy?
Stitch is going to be 11 in April.
Oh, wow.
I know. He's been around. He's been my constant companion.
How helpful is he when it comes to inspiration for the line? Does he give you secrets?
I don't know that I've ever been inspired by Stitch. He loves to sniff trash. I don't know. He likes to scratch his bum on the floor.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that he has the best manners of anyone I've ever met. I don't know if he'd really be the Lela Rose girl.
Well, he definitely has a great look, though.
He does, and he's too cute. He truly is.
And he's well behaved. And he's well behaved during Fashion Week.
Sometimes. Yeah, he tries.
So tell me about your fall line. What inspired you?
The fall line is really inspired by Gerhard Richter, and there were a few periods of his work that I really loved. I was at the Chicago Art Institute and was in a room filled with Richters, and I've always loved his work, but sometimes I just forget how inspiring it is. He's done all these very kind of obscure, filmy images within his work, so we really kind of went for that with the collection, and how to take the techniques of the painting that he did and recreate that in clothing. So it's a really interesting challenge.
I was going to ask you, how do you take something visual and make it wearable?
Well, I mean, by saying the techniques that he used, he would do all these landscapes, but then he would scrape the paint so you could no longer see the actual landscape. So we actually we made a print out of, we painted something and then took the same tools that he used to scrape the paint with, and we did that ourselves, so then we got this whole new print inspired by Richter's work. So it's very interesting how we did all of this. With the whole kind of veiled, fluid imagery that you see a lot with his pieces, very obscure. We would take layers of fabric and kind of reveal bits about the under layers through the top layers.
Oh,
it's really kind of with feathers too. We would take prints and then what you would have underneath, and kind of, so you would see little bits and pieces of the under layers.
So it's actually very central and very, very sexy, because when things are obscured, you can look at them more and find out what they are.
I know. I always think, you know, having a little bit more is sexier than just bearing it all.
We should sell it to some stylists.
I don't think they're listening.
Probably not. Who do you think is the Lela Rose woman?
Our woman has always been someone who's independent, body conscious. She loves to wear color. She loves to, you know, look great, but doesn't want to do it with logos and be overtly, you know, sexy.
What is your favorite thing about design?
Fabrics. Fabrics are my absolute favorite things. We design a lot of our fabrics with our mills, and it's just, you know, it's the most unbelievable thing. I think fabric designers never get enough credit in this industry for all that they do, but
do you ever get lost in fabric and you just forget, you just feel play?
I've lost all my money in fabric, for sure.
Oh, no.
Yes, I definitely do. Fabric to me is why I love this business. I love that and handcrafted details, but I really just live for new fabrics and seeing the new ways that they're being designed, and then we'll take something that's kind of new and then we will make it our own by doing our own prints with it, or, you know, having them inject different kind of threads like metallics, or, you know, the colors that we choose. But it's definitely where I spend the most money. It's in fabric.
And the right fabric can really transform.
I think it makes or breaks something. I think it, you know, a great design, you can see it. If it's not in a great fabric, it just doesn't come out that way.
How old were you, or where were you, when you first discovered fashion design?
I don't know where I was. My mother always sewed her own gowns for like galas that she was going to in Dallas, which was kind of unusual. I didn't have a lot of friends whose moms were doing that, but she's always been so creative and kind of a do-it-yourself person. I would just sit on the floor and help her do these like tulle encasing pieces that she was always working on. It's very fun.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how old I was, but
That's really cool. Just imagine a little tiny you and just surrounded by a cloud of fabric.
well, it's fun. And I have a little girl, Rosie, who is 4.5 now, or a little over 4, and she loves to come in and see what we're doing. She'll help us, like on the weekends if we're working prior to Fashion Week. She'll hold up the dress for 30 minutes while you're pinning it underneath, and she loves this.
That's awesome.
I think it's really fun.
That's
It's fun
awesome.
for me.
When did you know that this was it for you?
Really in college, I started a business where I was sewing these one-of-a-kind pieces, designing them and sewing them. And I'd always loved working with my hands, and I was a sculpture and painting major in college. But for me, there was something so tactile about working with the fabrics and then making it. It was very sculptural, but not in the normal sense of how things are sculptural.
Well, I mean, when you look at a finely crafted suit or a dress or a gown, it's three-dimensional art.
It is.
You know. And speaking of three-dimensional art, I know that you started working with Payless and creating shoes. And how did that transition? Were you nervous when you said, I'm going to do shoes? Did you have an idea
I was
in
dying
mind?
to do shoes. And really for me, I loved working with Payless. One of the things I love that we do is we take prints that we're doing or fabrics that we have in the collection and we translate that into the shoes. And I feel like there's not enough fabric shoes out there. So it was such a fun opportunity to be able to work with Payless and offer shoes at such a great price and reach a totally different customer than what we have now. But what's so much fun is a lot of our customers that buy the Lela Rose collection will also buy the Payless shoes.
Well, why not? They're gorgeous.
I know, they're really great.
I love these. These are two of the shoes that are going to be in the stores in September and online in September at Payless stores nationwide. What was the inspiration for this?
You know, like this is one of our Richter-esque prints that we came up with.
Gorgeous.
But I love all these double-stacked wedges, or double-stacked heels. Well, we've been doing this for a while with Payless, that we were working on kind of doing different platform heels, but how to do them differently. And I love like all of these insets. Our shoes are always like our clothes, very textured, kind of 3 different elements going on, which is what you have here with the perforated suede.
Oh, I
and
love
this line
this.
that goes through, and then of course the wood wedge. But with also just all the cutouts, I think wedges for me is something that we always do with the collection, with the shoe collection. I think number one, that they're so comfortable to wear. But there's, in the wedge shape, there's always such an area that I think you can concentrate on designing, where I feel like a lot of people don't usually design
You make it
wedge.
dark. So would you say that the wedge is your favorite shoe?
I love wedges.
Do you think that shoes reflect a woman's personality?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think clothing is first and foremost what she generally is thinking about, but I think the shoe completes an outfit, so I absolutely think. I also think women really enjoy buying shoes because no matter what size you are at that time, your shoe size is pretty much staying the same.
Yes.
So it's a much more fun purchase than going on and trying on a bathing suit,
Oh, yes.
which I've never particularly enjoyed.
No, trying on bathing suits is absolutely loathsome. However, trying on shoes,
I know.
you know, it's a lot more fun.
It is a lot more fun.
And you know, shoes, unlike boyfriends, when you get annoyed with them, you just put the shoe in the closet.
Exactly. Exactly.
What would you recommend for a woman who is looking for fall shoes? What would you say? Because you're looking at the fall now, and
Right.
these gorgeous charcoal color. I know you've got jewel tones and other things. If they had to pick one shoe for fall, would it be the wedge
I would
or
really
would it
say
be
the
the heel?
wedge. Well, number one, I always think wedges are so much more comfortable to wear, and that you can wear them for longer. I feel like they give you more support than a heel does. And I also just love like this design. I love having more of a neutral color as your upper, but then you've got this shot of color on the bottom. But I just think it's much more versatile than kind of going with, you know, a brighter color here than just a plain wedge.
And the great thing about this is that you can wear it with a dress, you can wear it with pants, you can even wear it with jeans. It's a great shoe.
Yeah, it's fun.
Mr. Suchi, what do you think of the shoes?
He's wondering if they taste good.
He's getting closer. Just want to ask you one last question. I do appreciate your time.
Sure.
What advice would you give for someone who wants to go into fashion?
Perseverance. You better buck up on how much perseverance you have. I think it just, I think fashion is a very difficult industry, but I think if you love it and it's what you want to do, then you just don't take no as an answer. You just hang in there. Also work for companies that you are going to get into and be able to do the most that you can and not be pigeonholed into one area. So generally that's smaller companies, less corporate, and but just not to take no for an answer and to just keep going.